Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen? Today we're going to be reviewing The Amazing Spider-Man number 44. We're going to be going through the entirety of the comic and giving my thoughts and opinions on it as we go along. If you enjoyed this video at any point, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's jump right into this comic. So our story begins at the same exact point where it left off previously. Spidey's gang just showed up and they're fighting Madame Masque and the Beetle's gangs. They established in the exact previous issue that Spider-Man's gang showed up and they're fighting both Madame Masque and the Beetle's gangs. But at the very start of this one, they established that there was some sort of alliance between Spidey's gang and the Beetle's gang. So at some point in between these two issues, number 43 and 44, some sort of alliance was formed between those two gangs. It's probably explained in some BS tie-in, but if you're just reading The Amazing Spider-Man in, the order that you're reading them in, this is the most confusing thing ever. Like, at what point do they establish an alliance and then on the very exact same page they break that alliance? I am not kidding. On the same page. What the heck even? Now, with this betrayal that just came out of nowhere, it definitely catches the Spidey gang off guard and they all get overwhelmed. But before anything crazy could happen, they get rescued by Luke Cage and Jackpot MJ, and tagging along with them is Spider-Boy, who is a fairly recent Spider type of character. I think he was meant to be like a sidekick to Spider-Man so that, he has his own Robin. I never quite got into the story that originates his character. It's one of the most recent Spider-Verse stories, but there's just too much Spider-Man to actually keep up with. Although I do have the comics. At some point I will read them. Brief short history of Spider-Boy is over. Let's get back into the comic. Even after Luke Cage and Jackpot show up to try to alleviate some of the pain from the Spidey gang, Spider-Man is still getting blasted by Silvermane and Madame Masque's father. I completely forgot what his name was. They got him pinned on the ground and they're just blasting at him. What manages to save them though is the character Shotgun. He shows up, he's hiding behind a tree, and he shoots the sigils that are on Silvermane and Madame Masque's father that are controlling them, and in the process saving Spidey's life, releasing these two characters of Madame Masque's control. After doing so, the character Shotgun looked over at Madame Masque and told her, "Nice working with you, Masque. See you around." And that bit of dialogue made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Up to this point, that character Shotgun has been manipulated by Madame Masque the same way Silvermane and Madame Masque's father have been. So the guy just comes out and says, "Yeah, nice working with you while being mind controlled, even though I was supposed to take you out as a government mission. The hell even is this, yo?" But that does give Spidey's team a brief moment to show up and just bust down Silvermane and Madame Masque's father, freeing Spidey of the torment, only to drop right into another hot situation with Madame Masque, who confronts Spidey as he's on the ground. At this point, it's just the two characters. Spidey easily overpowers Madame Masque, even though she does have magical powers that she was harnessing before that don't really get elaborated on. Spidey just webs her fist weapon and it blows up on her, causing her to get knocked out. I call that one of those GG easy wins, boys. This causes the villains that were on her side to just scatter. Once the enemies scatter and everything gets settled, Shang-Chi and the Iron Fist show up. They complain that no one was there to help them to save the world in their own way, which was apparently fighting these tanks that no one got to see. I'm sure you got to see it with the Shang-Chi tie-in comic, but I didn't read that. That's not The Amazing Spider-Man. It sounds like She-Hulk was involved at some point in that comic. From her own words, she was tired of fighting tanks. That was her entire reason for leaving them. And that just sounds like one of the dumbest reasons to leave your struggling team members. What the heck? Upon the fight settling though, Luke Cage and Spider-Man have a talk about how superheroes are once again legal again. So the one rule that hardly any writer really was acknowledging has been lifted. And now our boys in costume PJs are able to be superheroes again without being arrested. To be fair, the law making superheroes illegal was actually pretty damn well written back during the Chip Zdarsky's Devil's Reign event, starring Daredevil. I highly recommend y'all go read that event. It's pretty fun. And it explains how Luke Cage even became mayor to begin with. So that's also pretty fun too. Back to the comic at hand. After the fight in Central Park with Spidey and his gang, Spidey actually gets out of his costume and goes and visits Randy, his best friend in the hospital after getting shot. Peter explains to Randy everything that went down while he was out. And they both have a pretty decent moment as friends, which I can definitely appreciate. Lastly, the comic ends with Tombstone having an interaction with White Rabbit. Tombstone explains to her how he had a falling out with the Beetle. his daughter, and they probably won't see her again for a bit. We finish off the comic with Tombstone also explaining that he owes Spider-Man for all the help that he ended up giving him, and he will repay Spidey by beating him down next time he sees him. We basically go back to square one with the Tombstone character. He's a mob boss again, he has his crew again, the Beetle's nowhere in sight. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this comic. So what are our thoughts, comments, and concerns? Well, most of my thoughts you definitely have already heard. Now, do I like the comic? Do I enjoy it? Did I have fun with it? It's definitely one of those average ones for sure. The ending is very anticlimactic, it just sort of ends. Spider-Man doesn't really do much besides just taking out Madame Masque's own weapons, and that's only after his team showed up to back him up. What really made it horrible, literally from the very start, was the alliance that Spidey's team made with the Beetle's team. How do you start off that bad on page 1, my dog? And then on the same page at the very bottom, right before you flip it, the teams go back to going at each other's throats. What even? Overall, genuinely a very average comic for sure. Anyways, I leave you with that, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed this video at any point, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.